Hi, welcome back. I want to show you this critical moment in the working of the Godmother sock pattern. I've worked the foot, the heel, I've gotten the ribbing going all around the front and back of the sock, and I've worked 20, 30, 35 rounds of the 3x1 ribbing, and I've just finished working the back needle, the heel needle. I've provisionally cast on 24 stitches using a crochet chain. There's a little demonstration video for that too if you want to see it. But here I want to show you how to go from finishing the sock to starting the lace cuff, because it's a little tricky to visualize and to just get going with it. Okay. Here are my cast-on stitches done in a scrap yarn that's a contrasting color. Here's my sock and my working yarn, and this is the back needle. I'm just going to go straight from here into knitting these stitches. Let me keep from tangling here. Pull that nice and snug and just knit it off. I'm going to just knit this little row. I'm going to knit these 24 stitches. We'll pause and jump ahead to nearly to the end of the needle. You see, I'm just knitting these stitches, just continuing on the needle, but over these provisional cast-on stitches. And we're doing a plain knit row, which equates to row 9 in the edging pattern. Okay, there, I've knitted those stitches onto the sock. It's sort of an extension out in space here. Now I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to be using the double pointed needle and this needle from the sock. I'm now going to work row 10 of the edging, which begins with casting off 4, but it's good to begin at row 9 because it's a nice plain row. Okay, so I begin by casting off 4 and then knitting down the rest of the way. Okay, we're nearly back through all these extra cuff stitches. Now, you see here I'm at the last cuff stitch, the last one that comes out of the provisional cast on, and I'm about to run into stitches from the sock itself. So what I'm going to do here is unite an edging stitch to the sock cuff, and how we do that is an SSK slip, slip. That stitch is a little loose, but it's just sort of, it'll be okay. And then knit those together. Okay? And if we do that each time we come down to the sock end, we will be joining, and it'll start to fit along the top here, going this way. Okay, now what we do next is, because that was equated to row 10 in the Godmother's edging pattern, we turn, let me make sure not to tangle these, turn, and now we go to row 1 of the edging pattern, because there are 10 rows and then you repeat. So row 1, you start by slipping this stitch as if to purl. Hold on. The yarn should be at the front. Slip that, then take the yarn to the back, and you're ready to work the pattern. You start by knitting 3, 1, 2, 3, and then a sequence of yarn over, knit 2 togethers. I won't make you watch me do all of these, just the first one here. Did a yarn over the needle, and now I'm going to knit 2 together. So see, you get a little hole. I'm going to do that all the way up to the end. The last 2 stitches will be a yarn over and knit 2. This is the yarn over that will make each succeeding row slightly longer than the one before and give you a nice jagged pointing edge. So make sure not to miss that last yarn over. Otherwise the count of stitches on the next row won't be quite what it needs to be. Welcome back. I did the pattern all the way up to the end, turned around. The even numbered rows where you're looking at the inside of the sock, these are the even numbered rows, and they're always just plain knitting back, unless it's a row 10 and you're binding off. But I want to show you again the joining of a last stitch. Okay, I've got one more edging stitch here, and I want to join it to a stitch from the sock ribbing. So I'm going to slip it as if to knit, slip this as if to knit, back on the needle, decrease them together. Okay, let me show you. We're starting to get a horizontal row going here. Now I'm going to turn it around. The yarn's at the front, slip as if to purl, take the yarn back to the back side and work row 3 of the pattern, which starts with a knit 6. So you just keep doing that. I'm going to show you a little hiccup that will come periodically to get the gauge of this horizontal stuff to match this vertical stuff. That'll be a few more rows down the line. So work a bit more, and I'll work a bit more here, and then I'll join you again in a couple more rows. Okay, welcome back. I am just working a row 8 in the edging pattern, and if you're following the Godmother sock pattern as written, you should be on a row 8 too the first time you need to do this particular move. I'm just knitting back toward the sock. Here's the last edging stitch. You can see the join showing up here as a row of little V's. If you look closely at what I'm approaching in the ribbing portion of the sock, you'll see that after this edging stitch I've got a purl and then a knit showing. See all these columns of knits? These were the knit 3, purl 1. Now it looks like purl 3, knit 1 from the back side. But as I come up to a last purl before a knit, I'm going to do a slightly different join. And so that's going to happen every time, every 4th time, every time you come to one of these columns of knit. I'm going to slip the last edging stitch, slip a sock cuff stitch as usual, but I'm also going to slip a second cuff stitch. So I now have 3 slip stitches here that I'm going to join with an S, 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 K. Okay, so I joined 2 sock stitches to 1 edging stitch this time. And see, we're starting to get the edging developing. And this is going to be a turn down cuff. It's going to go like this. So what looks like the wrong side, it ends up being, this is the right side when you're done. You can see the provisional cast on here because I used a contrasting yarn. When I've worked the cuff all the way around and come back to this end, I'll be ready to unzip this cast on, put a double pointed needle into the freed up loops. You can see the little orange loops here that will come loose when I pull that green thread out. I'll put those onto a empty double pointed needle, and then I'll have the edging that's come around this way, and I'll graft the 2 ends together. It'll be grafting garter stitch, but that's what we'll do to make a nice smooth stretchy join. Okay, that's it for this part. Keep going.